Chosen one, you are not hearing these words by chance, and you are not here by accident. This moment has been arranged by heaven itself, a divine appointment set long before you pressed play. The same God who called light out of darkness has drawn you into this sacred moment because your season is shifting now. What once felt delayed has been aligning. What once felt withheld has been reserved. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural turning point where heaven's timing meets your obedience and faith. Chosen one, the weight you carried was never meant to break you. It was meant to position you. The pressure you endured was preparing you for elevation, for increase, for a divine transfer that cannot be explained by logic or human systems. This is the moment when struggle gives way to overflow, when scarcity loses its voice, and when provision begins to chase you instead of you chasing it. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision waits for the appointed time, but it will surely come, and it will not delay. That appointed time is now. Anointed one, eternal wealth is not only approaching your hands, it is awakening within your spirit. Heaven is opening doors, releasing wisdom, and aligning favor in ways you have never experienced before. Prepare your heart, steady your faith, and open your spirit, because what God is about to reveal will change how you see your future forever. Chosen one, let me speak to you plainly and truthfully from a place of reverence and lived experience. What you are sensing right now is real. This stirring in your spirit is not imagination, and it is not emotion alone. It is the sound of alignment. It is the moment when heaven begins to intersect with your obedience. I remember seasons in my own life when provision felt delayed, when effort seemed invisible, when prayer felt like it was echoing in an empty room. Yet looking back, I can see now that those were not empty seasons. They were hidden seasons. God was arranging things I could not see, moving resources, people, and timing into position long before I ever understood what He was doing. Chosen one, the abundance you have prayed for, the provision you have whispered about late at night, the future you hoped for but did not dare fully expect, it has not been forgotten. It has been reserved. There is a difference. Forgotten things fade. Reserved things are protected. What God sets aside cannot be taken by delay, denial, or opposition. This is why you are feeling pressure lift and expectation rise at the same time. Heaven is signaling a transition. You are moving from striving into alignment, from pushing into receiving. Anointed one, I need you to understand this deeply. Your prosperity is not fragile. It is not dependent on who approves of you, who supports you, or who understands your calling. I once believed that if the right people did not show up, if the timing was off, or if the economy shifted, then provision would stop. But that belief was exposed as small when I learned this truth: when God is your source, systems are irrelevant. His supply does not fluctuate. His timing does not panic. His provision does not apologize. There comes a moment when God begins to take responsibility for what you were never meant to carry alone. Many chosen ones spend years thinking it is their duty to force outcomes, to make provision happen through exhaustion and fear. I lived there. I know what it feels like to wake up tired before the day even starts, to measure life by bills, deadlines, and uncertainty. But there is a release that happens when you finally hear heaven say, "You can put that down now." That release is beginning for you. Chosen one, you were never created to live under constant pressure. You were created to steward overflow, and stewardship always comes after surrender. When you release control, space is created. When space is created, God moves. This is not theory. This is pattern. I have watched doors open that I could not have forced open in 10 lifetimes simply because I stopped striving and started trusting. The shift did not happen overnight, but it happened suddenly when the time was right. This is why the word says in Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 that the plans of God are plans to prosper, to give hope and a future. Not vague plans, not symbolic ideas, plans, structured, intentional, backed by heaven. When God plans prosperity, He also plans the timing, the protection, and the process. Nothing is wasted, not the delay, not the struggle, not the confusion. It all becomes part of the preparation. Anointed One. What is coming into your life will not arrive through panic. It will arrive through peace. That is how you will know it is from God. Panic drains. Peace carries weight. Peace has authority. Peace is the environment where supernatural provision flows. This is why the shift you are experiencing feels quiet, even sacred. Heaven does not rush. Heaven releases. I want you to hear this as someone who has walked through lack and lived to testify of overflow. The moment you stop asking, "How will this happen?" and begin declaring, "God is responsible for this," everything changes. You start recognizing opportunities instead of chasing them. You start attracting favor instead of begging for access. You start resting while others strain. Chosen One, your wealth will not arrive empty. It will arrive with wisdom. It will come with discernment, restraint, and clarity. God does not bless to destroy. He blesses to establish. What He is placing in your hands will not pull you away from purpose. It will anchor you deeper into it. This is not about excess for ego. This is about provision for assignment. And let me say this gently but clearly. You are not late. You have not missed your moment. The reason this word is landing now is because you are finally ready to carry what is coming without losing yourself in it. Some blessings require maturity more than desire. You have grown, you have learned, you have been refined. Now heaven responds. Chosen One, as this message continues, your role is not to strain or analyze every word. Your role is to remain open. Let your spirit breathe. Let resistance fall away. Let old beliefs about limitation loosen their grip. Because the shift has already begun, and what comes next will not be explained by effort, but by alignment. Chosen One. There is a truth that must settle deeply in your spirit before you can fully step into what God is releasing. Heaven does not respond to desperation the way it responds to alignment. Many people pray for increase while still operating from fear, anxiety, and survival thinking. I did that for years. I asked God to bless me while secretly believing I was on my own if He didn't move fast enough. But the moment that mindset broke, everything changed. The shift did not begin in my bank account. It began in my trust. Anointed One, divine wealth does not arrive in a rush of chaos. It arrives when order is restored in your inner world. God will not pour overflow into a soul that still believes lack is its identity. That is why some delays were actually mercy. You were being untangled from survival thinking. You were being taught to breathe again, to trust again, to stop measuring your worth by what you could produce. Before God increases what is in your hands, He increases what is in your spirit. I want you to hear this clearly. You were never meant to wrestle provision out of life. You were meant to walk with it. When Scripture speaks of God giving the ability to produce wealth, it is not speaking of endless exhaustion. It is speaking of divine empowerment. There is a difference between effort fueled by fear and action fueled by faith. Fear-driven effort drains you. Faith-driven action multiplies you. Chosen One. The reason things are about to accelerate is because you have reached a point of internal surrender. You may not have called it that, but heaven recognizes it. You stopped trying to control every outcome. You stopped forcing what would not move. You began to say, even quietly, "God, I trust you with this." That sentence alone shifts realms. I remember a season when I had no clear answers, only instructions that felt simple and almost foolish. Rest, give, wait, trust. None of those made sense to my natural mind. But obedience does not always feel logical. It feels vulnerable. And vulnerability is the doorway God uses to release power. When I obeyed without seeing the outcome, provision began to appear from directions I could not have planned. Chosen one. This is what is happening to you now. Provision is being rerouted. Resources are being reassigned. Conversations are taking place about you that you are not present for. Favor is moving quietly, intentionally, and precisely. This is how heaven works. Loud battles are for the enemy. God moves in still authority. Anointed one, you are entering a season where you will look back and realize that what once felt heavy now feels handled. Bills that once caused anxiety will no longer carry emotional weight. Decisions that once terrified you will become clear. This is not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you are no longer alone in carrying it. You have shifted from self-reliance into God-dependence, and that is where peace lives. There is a reason Jesus spoke about birds being fed and fields being clothed. He was not minimizing responsibility. He was exposing anxiety. Anxiety is the false belief that God might forget you, and anxiety cannot coexist with true faith. When you truly believe you are seen, fear loses its voice. When fear loses its voice, wisdom rises. Chosen one divine provision often arrives disguised as instruction. Sometimes it is a nudge to give when it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it is a call to let go of what looks secure but is no longer aligned. Sometimes it is an opportunity that does not look impressive at first glance. I have learned that God rarely labels his miracles in advance. You recognize them after obedience, not before. This is why humility matters in seasons of increase. Pride rushes ahead. Humility listens. Pride demands clarity. Humility trusts timing. The wealth God is releasing into your life will require discernment, not display. Quiet stewardship, not loud announcement. You will know who to trust. You will know when to move. You will know when to wait. This knowing is part of the blessing. Anointed one, do not compare your path to anyone else's. Comparison distorts perception. God does not copy-paste destinies. Your provision will arrive in a way that fits your assignment. Some are called to build. Some are called to fund. Some are called to restore. Some are called to pioneer. All require resources, but not all require the same route. Stay focused on what God has spoken to you. There will be moments ahead when it feels almost too easy, and that may confuse you. You may wonder why doors are opening without resistance. Let me tell you this now, so you do not sabotage peace later. Ease does not mean it is not God. Sometimes ease is the reward for seasons of endurance. Sometimes favor looks like effortlessness because the battle already happened when no one saw it. Chosen one. Your responsibility in this season is not to rush, boast, or explain. It is to stay aligned, stay generous, stay teachable, stay grateful. Gratitude keeps your heart open. Generosity keeps the flow moving. Teachability keeps pride from blocking the blessing. And hear this carefully. What God is releasing into your life will not isolate you from Him. It will draw you closer. True wealth does not replace dependence on God. It deepens it. You will pray differently. You will listen more closely. You will move with greater intention. That is how you know the increase is clean. As we continue, I want you to hold this truth steady in your spirit. God is not testing you to see if you are worthy. He is trusting you because you have been faithful in unseen places. The increase is not a reward for perfection. It is a response to surrender. And what is coming next will require you to stay grounded, steady, and deeply connected to the source. The shift has already started. What remains now is alignment, obedience, and trust. Chosen one. There is another layer of truth that must be revealed as you move deeper into this season. Divine wealth is not released randomly, and it is not sustained by chance. It flows where identity is secure. Many people desire abundance, but few are prepared for what abundance exposes. Increase does not only amplify resources, it amplifies what already lives within you. That is why God has spent so much time strengthening your inner foundation before expanding your outer world. I want to speak to you honestly, not just prophetically. I have seen people receive sudden provision only to lose peace, clarity, and direction because their identity was still tied to struggle. They did not know who they were without pressure. But you, chosen one, have been re-anchored. You are no longer defined by survival. You are learning how to exist without constant tension, and that shift is critical. Heaven entrusts wealth to those who will not confuse provision with purpose. Anointed one. What God is bringing into your life is not meant to replace Him. It is meant to reveal Him. That is why this season feels quieter than you expected. There is less striving, less noise, less proving. God is teaching you how to move from a place of sonship, not stress. Sons do not panic about inheritance, they prepare to steward it. There is a refining that happens just before release. You may have noticed old desires losing their grip. Things that once motivated you no longer excite you in the same way. This is not loss, this is alignment. God is simplifying your focus so that when provision comes, it does not scatter your energy. Focus protects blessing. Chosen one, you are also being trained to recognize counterfeit opportunities. Not every open door is sent by God, especially in seasons of favor. Some doors open to distract, to drain, or to delay. Discernment is part of your inheritance. I have learned that the right opportunity carries peace even when it stretches you. The wrong one carries urgency, pressure, and fear of missing out. You will feel the difference. This is why Scripture reminds us that wisdom must accompany increase. Wealth without wisdom creates chaos. But wisdom with provision creates stability, legacy, and impact. God is not just giving you access to resources, He is shaping your judgment. You are learning when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to pause. These instincts are heaven-trained. Anointed one, let me share something personal. There was a time when I thought God's blessing would solve everything instantly. I believed that once provision arrived, clarity would follow. But I learned the opposite. Clarity came first, provision followed. God stabilized my thinking, healed my urgency, and corrected my expectations before He increased my capacity. That process protected me. It will protect you too. Chosen one, your next level requires boundaries. Not everyone who supported you in struggle is assigned to walk with you in abundance. This does not make them wrong. It makes the season different. Growth requires discernment, not guilt. You are allowed to protect what God is building without apology. Silence is sometimes stewardship. There will be moments ahead when you are tempted to explain yourself, to justify your blessings, to shrink so others feel comfortable. Resist that temptation. You do not owe anyone an explanation for obedience. When God elevates you, humility does not mean hiding. It means staying aligned. Let your fruit speak. Anointed one, divine wealth also carries responsibility, but not the kind that burdens you. It is responsibility rooted in purpose. God blesses you so you can become an answer to prayers you once prayed yourself. You will recognize needs without being overwhelmed by them. You will give without fear of loss. You will invest without anxiety. This confidence is not arrogance, it is trust. You are also learning how to rest while God works. This may be unfamiliar. Rest can feel unproductive to those who survived by striving. But rest is not inactivity. Rest is agreement. When you rest, you are saying, I trust God to finish what I cannot. That trust accelerates outcomes. Chosen one, do not underestimate the power of consistency in this season. Daily alignment matters more than dramatic moments. Quiet faithfulness creates momentum. Small, obedient steps compound over time. God often hides massive breakthroughs behind ordinary obedience. There will be days when nothing appears to be happening. Do not interpret silence as absence. Some of the greatest movements of God happen underground. Roots grow before fruit appears. You are in a rooting season that is nearly complete. Anointed one, as wealth begins to manifest, protect your heart from comparison. What God is doing in you is unique. Some will rise faster, some will appear further ahead. That does not diminish your assignment. Heaven does not compete, it completes. Let this truth anchor you now. Your provision is not a reward for effort, it is a response to alignment. God is not impressed by exhaustion. He is drawn to trust. And trust is what you are learning to walk in now. As we move forward, understand this. The increase coming into your life will require you to remain grounded in truth, connected to God, and attentive to His voice. The next segment will go deeper into how divine timing unfolds and why what feels delayed is often perfectly positioned. Stay steady. Stay open. The unfolding has already begun. Chosen one. There is a sacred mystery in divine timing that many misunderstand. What feels slow to you is often precise in heaven. God does not move according to urgency. He moves according to readiness. And readiness is not only about circumstances aligning on the outside, it is about capacity forming on the inside. I have learned that when God delays a blessing, He is never withholding good. He is ensuring longevity. What arrives too early often leaves too quickly. Anointed one timing is one of the greatest forms of mercy. If God released certain resources to you before now, they would have overwhelmed you, distracted you, or pulled you away from what mattered most. Delay was not denial, it was protection. Heaven was building structure around the blessing so that when it arrived it would not collapse under its own weight. This is why the season you just walked through felt refining. God was reinforcing your foundation. There is a difference between waiting and being prepared. Waiting is passive. Preparation is active. You were not idle. You were becoming. You were learning patience without losing passion, trust without losing discernment, hope without losing grounding. These qualities are not optional at the level you are entering. They are essential. Wealth without these anchors becomes a burden. With them, it becomes a tool. Chosen one. Divine timing often unfolds quietly and then suddenly. One moment you feel as though nothing is changing, and the next moment everything shifts at once. That is not coincidence. That is accumulation. Obedience compounds, faith compounds, integrity compounds. You have been stacking unseen victories for a long time. Heaven keeps records even when the world does not applaud. I want you to think about seasons in your life where things fell apart unexpectedly. Relationships ended, opportunities disappeared, plans collapsed. At the time it felt like loss. But now, with clarity rising, you may begin to see how those endings created space. God cannot pour new wine into old containers. Sometimes He must empty what no longer fits so He can fill what does. What left your life was not meant to follow you into abundance. Anointed one, do not romanticize the past. What you survived was necessary, but it was not permanent. Some seasons are meant to be outgrown. Holding on to them out of loyalty or fear can delay what God is trying to release. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to step into new rooms. Growth is not betrayal. It is obedience. There is also something important you must recognize. Divine timing does not always look impressive at first. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a conversation, an invitation, an idea, or a subtle opportunity. It may not look like wealth immediately, but it will be connected to it. Pay attention to what stirs peace and curiosity at the same time. God often whispers before he shouts. Chosen one. Your sensitivity in this season is an asset, not a weakness. You are noticing patterns. You are sensing shifts. You are becoming aware of when to move and when to pause. This awareness is evidence of maturity. The more attuned you become to God's voice, the less you will need external validation. You will trust what you hear internally because it consistently produces fruit. I remember a moment when I almost rushed into an opportunity that looked perfect on paper. It promised fast results, recognition, and security. But something felt unsettled. Not fear, just unease. I chose to wait. Months later, I discovered what I avoided was a trap disguised as progress. Waiting saved me. Trusting timing preserved my peace. That lesson shaped how I move to this day. Anointed one. Impatience is often rooted in fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of falling behind, fear of being forgotten. But heaven does not forget. Heaven prepares. When God is involved, nothing meant for you will pass you by. What is truly yours will find you. That truth alone should bring rest to your spirit. This is also the season where your discernment around people will sharpen. Some will be drawn to you because of who you are becoming. Others will feel uncomfortable because your growth exposes what they avoid in themselves. Do not personalize either reaction. Stay anchored. Not everyone who walks away is against you. Some are simply not assigned to where you are going. Chosen one. Your increase will require emotional discipline. You will need to guard your peace intentionally. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Wealth of any kind amplifies influence, and influence demands restraint. The more God entrusts to you, the more selective you must become. There is also joy coming back to your life in unexpected ways. Laughter without guilt, rest without anxiety, pleasure without pressure. These are signs of healing. God does not only restore resources, He restores the ability to enjoy them. Abundance without joy is incomplete. Heaven's provision always includes wholeness. Anointed one, let this truth settle. You are not behind. You are right on time. The fact that this message is resonating with you now is proof of alignment. Your spirit recognizes the season. You are no longer asking if God will move. You are preparing for how you will steward what He releases. As we move forward, the next segment will speak directly to responsibility stewardship and the role generosity plays in sustaining divine wealth. Not as obligation, but as flow. What God releases through you will continue to increase as long as you remain open, humble, and aligned. Stay present, stay grounded. The timing is not random, it is precise. Chosen one. Now we come to a truth that many avoid, but the anointed must understand clearly. Divine wealth is sustained by stewardship, not possession. God does not measure trustworthiness by how much you receive, but by how well you manage what flows through your hands. Ownership mindset restricts flow. Stewardship mindset multiplies it. This is where many people unknowingly block increase. They grip instead of guide. They hoard instead of honor. Anointed one, everything God releases into your life comes with movement attached to it. Nothing from heaven is stagnant. Blessings are designed to circulate. When you understand this, generosity stops feeling like loss and starts feeling like alignment. I used to think generosity meant sacrificing security. What I learned instead is that generosity creates security. It keeps the flow open. It signals to heaven that you can be trusted with more. There was a season when I gave while still unsure how provision would replenish. It felt risky, but every time I released what God asked me to release, something unexpected returned. Not always in the same form. Sometimes it was peace. Sometimes it was opportunity. Sometimes it was wisdom that saved me from costly mistakes. Over time, I realized that giving was not draining me. It was positioning me. Chosen. One, divine wealth does not demand perfection. It requires alignment. You do not need to be flawless to steward abundance, but you do need to be honest, grounded, and obedient. God is not intimidated by your questions. He is concerned with your posture. Are you open or are you guarded? Are you listening or are you rushing? These questions matter. Anointed One stewardship begins long before the visible increase arrives. How you treat what you have now determines what you will receive later. Small decisions reveal big readiness. Faithfulness in hidden places invites trust in visible ones. This is not about earning favor. It is about demonstrating capacity. You may have noticed that your perspective on money, success, and responsibility has been shifting. You think differently now. You weigh decisions more carefully. You consider impact, not just outcome. This is not accidental. God is expanding your awareness because what you are about to carry requires maturity. Blessings grow where wisdom lives. Chosen One. Divine wealth is not just about accumulation, it is about purpose. God increases you so that you can become a solution. Not to everything, not to everyone, but to the assignments He places before you. You will begin to sense when giving is required and when restraint is necessary. Discernment governs generosity. Not every need is yours to meet, but every assignment is yours to obey. There will be moments when you feel prompted to give in ways that do not make sense to others. Do not seek approval. Obedience rarely looks impressive in advance, but it always produces fruit afterward. God speaks through instruction, not explanation. Trust grows when you move without full clarity. Anointed One, you are also learning that stewardship includes boundaries. Saying no is sometimes an act of obedience. Overextending yourself can drain what God is trying to multiply. Rest is part of stewardship. Margin is part of stewardship. Peace is part of stewardship. Wealth that costs you your health, your integrity, or your connection with God is not divine. God's provision sustains life. It does not consume it. Chosen One. There is a divine economy at work that operates differently from the world's system. The world teaches accumulation through fear. God teaches multiplication through trust. The world says, secure everything for yourself. God says, release what you can and watch me multiply what remains. This principle is not poetic. It is practical. It works because it is rooted in truth. You may also notice resistance rising as you step into this understanding. Old beliefs may try to resurface. Thoughts like, what if I don't have enough? Or what if this doesn't work? Do not condemn yourself for these thoughts. Acknowledge them, then release them. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the refusal to let doubt lead. Anointed One. Your generosity will not always be public. In fact, the most powerful giving often happens quietly. God sees what no one applauds. Heaven responds to what the world ignores. Quiet obedience carries great authority. You do not need recognition, you need alignment. There will come a point when you realize that your provision no longer feels fragile, it feels established. That stability is not accidental, it is the result of consistent stewardship. Consistency builds trust. Trust builds flow. Flow builds legacy. Chosen. One legacy is part of what God is forming in you. What you are stepping into is not only for now, it is for what comes after you. The decisions you make today will ripple forward in ways you may never fully see. That is why integrity matters. That is why humility matters. That is why generosity matters. Let me say this clearly. You are not being asked to give out of pressure. You are being invited to give out of alignment. Pressure drains. Alignment empowers. When you give because heaven prompted you, you will never lack. When you hold because fear warned you, you will always feel tension. Learn to recognize the difference. Anointed one. The more you allow God to move through you, the more He will trust you with. Flow increases where resistance decreases. This is not about becoming less. It is about becoming open. Open hands receive more than clenched fists ever could. As we move forward, the next segment will speak about authority, confidence, and how to walk in divine wealth without guilt, shame, or fear of visibility. Because what God is doing in you will be seen, and you must be ready to stand without shrinking. Stay aligned, stay generous, stay grounded. The flow is continuing. Chosen one, as divine wealth begins to manifest more clearly in your life, there is an inner adjustment that must happen, and it is one many are not prepared for. Visibility. Favor has weight, and weight draws attention. God does not elevate you to hide you, but He also does not elevate you to expose you unprotected. This season is teaching you how to stand confidently without becoming defensive, how to be seen without becoming proud, and how to receive without shrinking. Anointed one, there is no guilt attached to God's blessing. If guilt tries to rise when increase comes, it is not from heaven. It is a remnant of old thinking, the belief that struggle is humility and abundance is selfish. That belief is not truth. Humility is not the absence of blessing. Humility is the presence of alignment. You can walk in abundance with a pure heart and steady spirit. I remember the first time provision arrived in a way I did not expect. Instead of joy, I felt tension. Not because the blessing was wrong, but because my identity had not yet caught up with my assignment. I was used to surviving, not stewarding. That tension taught me something important. God often changes your environment faster than He changes your self-perception, and that gap is where growth happens. You are closing that gap now. Chosen one authority grows when confidence is rooted in God, not in outcome. You do not need to defend your blessings. You do not need to justify your progress. You do not need permission to obey God. When God elevates you, your job is not to convince others, but to remain consistent. Consistency silences doubt more effectively than explanation ever could. There will be people who misunderstand your season. Some will assume you changed when in truth you matured. Some will feel uncomfortable because your growth highlights their stagnation. Others will project motives onto you that do not belong to you. Do not internalize these reactions. You are not responsible for managing other people's interpretations of your obedience. Anointed one. This is where emotional discipline becomes essential. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every opinion requires correction. Silence is sometimes strength. Peace is sometimes authority. When you are secure in who God called you to be, you do not need to react to every voice around you. You are also learning how to receive without apology. That is important. Many chosen ones sabotage their own increase by minimizing what God is doing. They downplay favor. They deflect recognition. They shrink blessings so others feel comfortable. This is not humility. This is fear disguised as politeness. True humility honors the source without rejecting the gift. Chosen one. God is not testing you to see if you will become arrogant. He is training you to become grounded. Grounded people can handle attention without being consumed by it. They know where their strength comes from. They are not threatened by praise or criticism because their identity is settled. Authority also shows up in decision-making. As wealth and opportunity increase, so does the number of choices before you. You will not be able to say yes to everything. Discernment will protect your focus. Focus will protect your energy. Energy will protect your calling. This is why God is sharpening your ability to pause before you act. Speed is not always strength. Wisdom often moves slower than opportunity. Anointed one, you may feel an increasing sense of responsibility, but it should not feel heavy. If it feels heavy, check the source. God's assignments carry grace. When something is from Him, provision for it accompanies it. If you feel pressure without peace, you are likely carrying something prematurely or unnecessarily. There is also a confidence that comes from knowing God has gone before you. You are no longer guessing your way forward. You are discerning your steps. That difference changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you listen. Confidence rooted in God does not announce itself. It is felt. Chosen one. Your posture matters more than your platform. Stay teachable, stay connected, stay anchored in prayer and truth. Increase does not mean independence from God. It requires deeper dependence. The higher you rise, the more essential your grounding becomes. You will also begin to notice that your words carry more weight. Be mindful of how you speak about yourself, about money, about opportunity. Words shape atmosphere. Speak with intention. Speak with faith. Speak with restraint. What you declare sets direction. Anointed one, divine wealth is not meant to isolate you, but it will refine your circle. You may feel drawn toward people who understand stewardship, growth, and purpose. This is not rejection of others. It is alignment with those who can walk with you without competition or confusion. Community matters, but alignment matters more. Let me say this clearly. You are allowed to enjoy what God provides. Joy is not rebellion. Gratitude is not pride. Celebration is not arrogance. God delights in seeing His children flourish. He is not offended by your joy. He is honored by your stewardship. As this season unfolds, you will find yourself less reactive, more discerning, less anxious, more assured. That is evidence of authority settling into your spirit. You are not rushing. You are not chasing. You are walking. In the next segment, we will move into how to sustain this posture long-term, how to remain aligned through cycles, and how to walk in divine wealth without drifting from purpose. What God is building in you is meant to last. Stay steady, stay humble, stay confident. You are learning how to carry what you prayed for. Chosen one. Now we arrive at the place where everything comes together, not as a conclusion, but as a commissioning. Divine wealth is not a moment you pass through. It is a posture you maintain. What God has begun in you is not seasonal, it is structural. He is not just changing your circumstances. He is establishing a way of living that can sustain increase across time, across cycles, across generations. Anointed one, sustaining divine wealth requires rhythm. There will be seasons of visible growth and seasons of quiet maintenance. Both are holy. The mistake many make is assuming that momentum must always look dramatic. In truth, the most powerful seasons are often the most ordinary, showing up consistently, staying aligned daily, listening carefully, obeying promptly. This is how longevity is built. I want to speak to you as someone who has seen both expansion and contraction. There are moments when God increases quickly and moments when he stabilizes deliberately. Neither means he has changed his mind. Expansion stretches capacity, stabilization strengthens structure. You need both. If everything increased all the time, foundations would crack. God loves you too much to let that happen. Chosen one. There will be moments ahead when you feel tempted to drift. Not away from God entirely, but away from attentiveness. Comfort can dull discernment if you are not intentional. That is why staying connected matters. Prayer is not a crisis tool, it is a maintenance practice. Gratitude keeps you grounded, reflection keeps you clear, generosity keeps you aligned, anointed. One, remember this: wealth is not the destination, purpose is. Wealth is the vehicle God uses to move purpose forward. When you remember that you will never feel lost in abundance, you will know why you are blessed. You will know where to direct what flows through you. You will know when to advance and when to pause. There will also be moments when you face unexpected resistance, even after alignment. Do not panic. Resistance does not always mean you are off track. Sometimes it confirms you are advancing. Stay rooted, stay calm. Authority does not shout, it stands. When God is with you, you do not need to prove anything. Chosen one, you are learning to live without fear of loss. That freedom changes everything. When fear leaves, clarity remains. You make decisions from wisdom, not urgency. You invest from vision, not insecurity. You give from overflow, not pressure. This is the posture of someone who trusts the source, not just the supply. I want you to hear this clearly. You will not lose what God establishes. What is built on alignment lasts. What is sustained by obedience remains. What is entrusted by heaven is protected by heaven. Your job is not to cling. Your job is to steward. Anointed one, as you walk forward, stay sensitive, stay humble, stay bold. Boldness does not mean recklessness. It means confidence anchored in truth. Humility does not mean hiding. It means honoring the source. Sensitivity does not mean weakness. It means discernment is alive. You are also stepping into a season where others will look to you for guidance, even if they never say it out loud. How you handle provision will teach without words. How you carry peace will preach louder than sermons. How you remain grounded will give permission for others to believe again. Chosen one legacy is not something you chase. It is something you build quietly over time. Every aligned decision contributes to it. Every act of integrity strengthens it. Every moment of obedience extends it. You are not just receiving for now. You are building for what comes after you. There may be times when you wonder if you are doing enough, giving enough, or moving fast enough. Release those questions. God does not rush maturity. He cultivates it. Stay faithful to what is in front of you. Faithfulness compounds more powerfully than ambition ever could. Anointed one, let peace be your indicator. When peace remains, you are aligned. When peace leaves, pause and listen. God speaks clearly to those who are willing to slow down enough to hear him. You do not need to chase the next thing. What is assigned to you will find you. As you step forward from this moment, carry this truth with you. You are not walking into uncertainty. You are walking into preparation completed. The waiting produced wisdom. The pressure produced clarity. The surrender produced authority. And now the flow continues. Chosen one, eternal wealth is not just ahead of you. It is active around you. Heaven is backing your steps. Alignment is guiding your decisions. Favor is opening the right doors at the right time. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are not forgotten. Stand steady. Walk forward. Steward well. What God has begun, He will sustain. Chosen one. This is not just a message you have heard, and it is not merely a prayer you have listened to. What has taken place in this moment is a divine transaction. Heaven has heard, heaven has responded, and the shift has already begun. You are standing in your exact Kairos moment, the appointed time where what was prepared in the unseen begins to manifest in the seen. The doors that were held back are opening. Now the alignment is locking into place, and the flow of divine provision is moving toward you with precision and purpose. Anointed one, do not leave this moment unchanged. Stand on what has been spoken. Declare it daily. Walk with quiet confidence and holy expectation. Your breakthrough is not approaching from a distance. It is already active, already unfolding, already assigned to you. Remain faithful, remain aligned, and let gratitude fill your heart as you watch heaven confirm what was released today. If this word has resonated within your spirit, you may gently affirm it by writing, "I receive my divine wealth as a witness of faith." Stay connected, stay present, and allow this anointing to continue flowing through your life. May God's unlimited favor, supernatural provision, and eternal abundance rest upon you and your household. Walk forward in peace, chosen one. Your time has come. God bless you, and I will see you in the next message.